And I quote there, well, both the US and Russia both have key military bases in Kyrgyzstan. And news just in: a French soldier has been killed in Afghanistan, bringing the French death toll there up to 41 now. The soldier died from gunshot wounds in a Kabul military hospital. He was hit during an exchange of fire between French troops and Taliban militants in the valley of Tagab, northeast of Kabul. Next, fears over the Greek debt crisis have sent European markets tumbling this Thursday. The euro fell below 1.3 euros to the dollar for the first time in 2 weeks as market uncertainty spread over the Greek economy and its impact on the rest of the eurozone.
In a sign of Greece's troubled times, its borrowing costs soared to record highs Thursday, surpassing that of embattled Iceland, according to one measure. It comes on the news of upwardly revised deficit figures, renewing doubts about whether Greece can repay its debts. Stocks tumbled, the euro dropped, and everyone's nervous about what it means for the rest of Europe. The calm-headed consensus that prevailed at the recent EU meeting to help Greece cut a path out of the economic wilderness seems to have dissipated into doubt.
I have to tell you, Mr. President and dear colleagues, that I have serious doubt about the mechanism. I hope that I am wrong, but I don't think it can work.
The statement of the heads of state and government is, in the opinion of the ECB, a workable framework. And I would not comment on whether the market itself understands clearly what has been said.
Market confidence is shaky despite the 22 billion euro safety net proffered by the EU and the International Monetary Fund in March. Investors were spooked by a recent report that Greece wanted to avoid taking IMF aid because of the harsh conditions attached. It was seen as a sign that Greece was unprepared to inflict the necessary fiscal pain to pull the country out of its nosedive. Experts from the International Monetary Fund arrived in Athens Wednesday. For the next 2 weeks, they'll provide technical aid to the Greek government, hoping to clean up its finances and repay its debts.
A banking source who wished not to be named has said that Greece's 4 largest banks, National Bank of Greece, Eurobank, Alpha Bank and Piraeus Bank, have all asked to access these support packages' remaining funds. Well, for more on the Greek debt crisis, I'm now joined by our correspondent Natalie Savarikas, who's in Athens. Natalie, have today's developments led to panic there on the ground? Are we seeing a rush on banks like we witnessed with Northern Rock in the UK?
Well, let's say that this panic has been sort of progressive. It's been a progressive sense of concern since the beginning of the debt crisis, heightened definitely sense of alarm in the recent months. As you mentioned, some 10 billion euros were withdrawn from Greece's 4 main banks in the past 2 months already. The banks, which as you said included the National Bank of Greece and Eurobank, turned to the government apparently for help, asking access to the remaining funds of a 28 billion euro government support plan. Now, the 10 billion euros that have been withdrawn amounts to some 4.5% of the total of the banking system in Greece, which is a pretty important number there. Now, this sense of panic is witnessed in various echelons of the Greek society, ranging from the business savvy, such as real estate developer. A real estate developer told me today that he did actually shut his account in Greece and transferred his funds to Switzerland, but also the lower incomes echelons of the society, who are now going back to hiding their money under the mattress, if you will. So yes, that's a feel that we're getting recently, and of course an overall increasing sense of uncertainty with the spreads and the interest rates on the government debt going up to 7.31% today.
Natalie, can you explain who is to blame for this mess?
Well, the critics turn their heads towards the government. The government is lagging behind. They say they're behind the markets. They're not rushing enough, trying to protect the government's measures so far in trying to enforce this austerity measures and wield its benefits. No, they say that they're allowing rumors to spread and rumors that have seen the spreads going up by nearly 400 basis points today.
Natalie Savarikas, thank you very much for that update from Athens. Next, assessing the extent of global warming with a new satellite. The European Space Agency sent up Cryosat 2 up to space from the Baikonur Cosmodrome this Thursday. It will measure the thickness of the ice at both the North and South Poles. Well, scientists hope the satellite will help them better understand how our planet is responding to global warming.
It all went precisely to plan. Unlike the satellite it was built to replace, Cryosat 2 took off without a hitch from Kazakhstan's Baikonur Cosmodrome. One of the project's directors explained that it seems all systems are go.
The news we heard a few minutes ago was that signals from Cryosat 2 have been successfully received on the ground, and we believe it's on its journey.
The payload is a compact satellite weighing only 700 kilograms. Unlike other orbiters, the Cryosat 2 doesn't have solar panel wings to deploy. The panels are glued to its body. The aim is to keep the device steady in order to make its measurements more accurate.
The Cryosat can take data with extraordinary precision. It can measure the height and the thickness of ice with an accuracy of 2 to 5 centimeters. That's unparalleled in today's technology.
The satellite was developed in less than 4 years after the original Cryosat was lost due to a launch failure. The European Space Agency spent another 75 million euros to replace the device so that it could continue with the mission of studying how the Earth is reacting to climate change.
Polar ice is an important regulator of the Earth's climate. It has a direct effect on climate stability and sea levels. It also affects major ocean currents such as the Gulf Stream. So Cryosat will allow us to better understand the mechanisms of how our planet is responding.
A number of other orbiters are already monitoring the effects of climate change, mapping forests or measuring the salinity of seawater. 20 more such satellites are planned to be launched within the next 10 years.
Well, it's time now for a look at the stories making headlines here in France after the storm Cynthia claimed 53 lives back in February. The authorities here in France have ordered 1,400 homes to be bulldozed because they stand in high-risk flood zones. That's all in 24 hours in France with Shona Bhattacharya.
The much-anticipated list has arrived. Close to 1,400 homes will be bulldozed because they stand on so-called zones noires, or black zones, areas that present a high flood risk and that suffered the most from Cynthia, the storm that claimed 53 lives late February. Those homeowners that will be affected by the measure were devastated.
They're going to destroy everything. We had something, now we have nothing. We're here, and all of this area is being razed to the ground. We've been here for 50 years, and now we have nothing.
In other areas outside the black zones, homes will be studied on a case-by-case basis. State officials will soon begin buying up the affected homes at pre-storm market prices and evacuating residents to safer housing. As doctors, they chose a healthy way to vent their anger. They went jogging. French general practitioners have a list of grievances they say hinders the future of their profession, as well as their status in the medical corps. They say they deserve to be paid as specialists according to the parliamentary decision recognizing general medicine as a specialty.
We continue to be treated as inferiors. That €1 would bring us to the level of the specialists like the others. Of course, it's not that €1 that will save our profession.
On Thursday, France's equivalent of the Supreme Court reversed a regional decision that had allowed a handful of practitioners to be paid €1 more. A doctors' union says it's ready to go to the European Court of Human Rights to get it back. French passengers continued to feel delays on the second day of the SNCF strike, but train traffic is scheduled to be almost normal on Friday. The third strike since the beginning of the year is extendable for an indefinite period of time. Train unions demand a rise in pay and an end to the hiring freeze, as well as better working conditions, among other things. But SNCF management refuses to negotiate during the strike, pushing one union, the CGT, to call on workers to pursue and even amplify their efforts.